Hello everybody, this is Jack from Innova Education. Welcome to this webinar from University of Liverpool. Next to me is Michael Bohebi. He will take over, of course, the webinar. Any questions that you have, you can just type them and I will try to answer them. If they are for Michael, I will speak up out loud. We have two people here in the office as well. So Michael, good luck with your presentation.
Muchas gracias, Jack. Okay, hola, buenas tardes. It's very nice to speak to you. My name's Michael, as Jack said, and I'm from the University of Liverpool in the UK. So I'm going to talk you through a brief presentation just to give you a flavour of the university, and also for the people in the room, you'll just get a general idea about the University of Liverpool. So feel free to ask questions, and if you want to do that through the presentation, that's fine, or if you want to ask at the end, no problem, so at the end. It's all good for me. Okay, so first of all, just so you know who you're speaking to, from this collection of good-looking people on the screen, you can see me. I'm in the bottom left. So my role is to manage recruitment of international students from Latin America, and I also work in the Middle East and North Africa and Turkey. So I won't go through the whole team, but it just helps to put a face to the name. So to begin, I'll tell you a little bit about the city that I'm from, which is Liverpool. The first thing to mention is that people from Liverpool have a bit of a crazy accent. We have a bit of a strange accent compared to most other places in the UK. Hopefully you can understand me, because I try to be slow and try to be understood. But the Scouse accent, as it is called, is quite difficult sometimes to understand. So if I say any crazy words and you don't understand, just make a comment to Jack and he can tell me to repeat myself in a normal accent. Okay. So the city of Liverpool, it's in the northwest of England. And as you can see from the map, where we've got the red dot, this is the location of Liverpool. So in England, it's the northwest. But in the entire nation, in Great Britain, it's kind of in the middle. So as a student, it's very, very good for you to travel the whole country. So if you'd like to visit London, you can be there in like 2 hours. You know, most of the big cities are an hour, 2 hours away. Probably the most famous sort of area of natural beauty in the UK is called the Lake District. And this is where you have like amazing forests and lakes, and it's probably like the most beautiful area of the UK. And that's only about maybe 1 hour, 30 minutes from Liverpool. So yeah, you've got a very good location. The other thing you'll notice is that Liverpool is on the coast, and Liverpool is a port city. So as well as having, you know, trade all over the world for many years, we've also had different people from different nationalities who've moved to the city through their job. So it's quite a diverse place. It's got quite a cosmopolitan feel, and the city generally is very friendly to people from different backgrounds, because we're so used to working with different people, being a port city. This just gives you an idea of kind of how the city looks. This main picture in the background is a very, very tiny percentage of the waterfront in Liverpool. And if you look at the picture in the middle, this is like an aerial view of the whole city centre. And you'll notice there's a major river, and that's called the River Mersey. And all of the buildings right next to the river, this is like the main city centre. So like the shops, the restaurants, the bars, the cafes, just everything, all of the action is all there next to the river. Now the area you can see inside the green circle, that's the university. So you can see you're very, very close to the main city centre and where the main excitement and the main life happens. So you can live in the campus. Excuse me one moment, because the computer says my battery is running low. So we might want to plug in if possible. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, so as you can see, you can be in the university having lectures, and you can walk into the centre of the university in like 5 minutes. So it's an excellent location. If you live in the university campus, you don't even need really any transport because you just walk everywhere. It goes without saying that, you know, Liverpool is a much smaller place than Mexico City, but it's a grand city. It's got a lot going on, and it kind of it punches above its weight, to use an unusual phrase, on the world stage, really, because it's a very small city, but it's quite famous, and we've got a lot of exports like the Beatles and, you know, the football club, Liverpool Football Club, who've got a European Cup final, I might add, next week, which we're looking forward to very much. Apologies to any Barcelona fans. We did have to dispense of Barcelona last week, but, you know, someone's got to win and someone's got to lose. Yeah, so basically there's a lot going on. It's a very dynamic city, quite multicultural, and the location of the university is really, really good. The city's won many awards around student satisfaction and student life. It's got the fastest growing economy in the UK outside of London. It's got the most museums and cultural institutions outside of London. And in 2008, Liverpool actually won the title of European Capital of Culture. So there's so much that goes on in Liverpool. It's just very dynamic. Every week or every few weeks, there's like different festivals for like music, sport, you know, theatre. There's just so much that happens in the city. So yeah, I'm sure you can do some research on the city itself. But what I would say is that it's kind of a blend of old and new. So you'll see lots of architecture like you've got on the screen now. Very old, traditional, kind of powerful architecture from when the city was really one of the most wealthy and powerful cities in the world at one point. And now that, you know, it doesn't have that status anymore because the world has moved on, but it's got a very modern edge to the city. So the architecture, when you're in the city, it's a nice blend of old and traditional and like very new and innovative. So it's a nice place for a young person to be. Like I mentioned, we have different communities in the city, different cultural festivals. There's a picture you can see here of a Chinese archway. And this is actually, it's the biggest Chinese arch outside of Beijing in the whole world. And that was sent over to Liverpool and built piece by piece in the city because Liverpool has got the oldest Chinese community in Europe. So that just touches on what I mentioned earlier on. We've had a lot of immigration and a lot of different cultures. So Chinese is one, but there's many, many other cultures as well. About 2 weeks ago, we had this festival called the Brazilica Festival. And this is where we have like samba bands and different kind of Brazilian activities going on. And they actually march with the drums through the whole city. You know, the Mexican Student Society does things for the Day of the Dead. And there's just so many like really vibrant cultural things going on. So that's a bit about the city. I could talk about the city for a long time, but I'll spare you the details of my love affair with Liverpool, because I am actually from the city, so it's not fair to really go on about Liverpool too much. But in terms of the university, I'm not going to talk about too many facts and figures because life is too short, and you know, you probably hear facts and figures from everybody. But these are just the few key ones that I think might be interesting to you. So on campus, Liverpool has about 25,000 students. In total, we have 33,000 because we have online students as well. But of those 25,000 students online, we've got a really big proportion of those students who are international. So 8,000 students are actually international from all different backgrounds. So the reason why I mentioned that is because we're quite a bit more international than many other universities in the UK. So if you're thinking about potentially moving to the other side of the world, you know, if you were to come to Liverpool, then you wouldn't feel like in a minority or kind of, you know, like the only international student. There's a really, really big amount, very, very vibrant student community. And another thing worth mentioning is that my university is one of 4 different universities in the city. So as well as the University of Liverpool, there's so many more students and more international students. And it's just a great, you know, place to be young and to have that time of life with so many other people. Yeah, we're the original red brick university. Now, different universities in the UK are very strange because they have so many different titles and kind of weird names and words that don't really mean much unless you are kind of from the UK. The Russell Group is a group of the most kind of traditional, prestigious universities in the UK, and the Russell Group is basically the Russell Group is basically a group of research-intensive universities. So other members of the Russell Group are like Oxford, Cambridge, Edinburgh, Durham, Manchester, Liverpool. So if you ever see Russell Group and you're not sure what that means, that's the kind of group. Hello to people who've just joined us as well, by the way. My name's Michael. Nice to meet you. Yeah, so we're a member of the Russell Group, which means we're very, very strong academically, and we're focused on research. Another word for the Russell Group is red brick, and the University of Liverpool was the first red brick university in the country, and it just means literally that the university was made from red bricks. That's literally what it means. But you can see a building in the centre that is made from red bricks, and that was the original university, and then from that everything else spread out. And also from this building in the whole country, the red brick institutions spread out. So that's an interesting fact for some people. We're also ranked highly globally, and we'll look at some of the rankings in a moment, but basically we're in the top 200 institutions in the world. So usually for funding bodies like Connoseed and bodies like this, and also sponsoring organisations, businesses, companies, Liverpool is usually always on their approved list because we're highly ranked. So I mentioned that we're very international on the campus, but we're also a global institution. So we have different partnerships and campuses in different parts of the world. So the main campus is in Liverpool, as I've mentioned, and that's where the majority of our teaching happens. We also have a campus in China, in a city called Suzhou, which is like half an hour from Shanghai. And all of our undergraduate students have the opportunity, if they'd like to do this, to study in China as well. So they can study for 1 year, like an additional year on top of their program. Or for certain programs, they can do a year of their course in China. One of the reasons why that's really good, obviously China is one of the major economies now in the world. I think it's number 2. As that's developed, many jobs and business opportunities are either going to be based in China in the future, or they're going to involve Chinese businesses. So you could very well work in Mexico, but have a line of business to China, and that could be something very, very interesting for you to learn about China and Chinese culture and business. So that's one opportunity. We've also got a small campus in London, which is just for a small number of postgraduate qualifications. So we offer programs like banking and finance and investment management and things like that down in London. And that's because London is an international financial hub. So you've got, if you were to study in London, like a banking program, obviously you've got access to banks and the financial institutions, opportunities to network and, to get jobs and stuff like that. We also offer some design programs like urban planning, design linked to architecture. Again, because that's where many of the UK's architectural firms are located, down in London. We also have many different opportunities. So we have around about 300 study abroad partnerships. And basically that means if you studied in Liverpool, although you would already be studying abroad because you're Mexican and you would be in Liverpool, you can also choose to do like maybe a semester or a module or a few months in a different country as well. So wherever you've got an interest, it could be China, it could be somewhere in Africa, it might be in Spain, you know, you've got that opportunity to study in another country. Okay. So I hope that all makes sense so far. And I hope you're making sense of my Liverpool accent. The university itself now, it's structured in 3 major faculties. So we have the Faculty of Science and Engineering, Health and Life Sciences, and Humanities and Social Sciences. And on the screen, you can see the major faculties and departments. So this gives you a general sense of the types of programs that we offer at Liverpool. This slide goes into much more detail, so you can see actual schools and departments. To give you a general idea, Liverpool is a very, like I've mentioned, very traditional university. So we mainly offer programs that are very academically focused. So we do traditional science subjects, medicine, law, business, architecture. These are like the main strengths of Liverpool, and clinical subjects. And we generally do programs that help you to move into the traditional professions. Now, we also do new modern, innovative subjects like computer science and software development. So we're not just traditional, we do have like a modern element. But we don't do programs, for example, like design or fashion or interior design or many really like vocational programs. Liverpool is more like traditionally academic. So it's that kind of a place. Some things that are interesting, we've already mentioned year in China, study abroad, but for many programs in science and engineering, usually computer science, electrical engineering, and also some business and management programs, you get the opportunity to take a degree, but to do an additional year, which is the year in industry. And what that gets you is a real job for 1 year in a big business in the UK. So then you can graduate with a good degree from a really good university, and you can also get, you know, a year of work experience as well. So that's another opportunity. Some people like to take that. Some people have already got work experience. But what I'm trying to really show you is that there's lots and lots of opportunities and like additional things we can do to help. It's not just the study. So some of the rankings that we have are on the screen. The QS has us 151 and the Times Higher has us number 181. So we're comfortably within the top 200 globally. In the UK, we've actually just risen 6 places about 2 weeks ago. So we're now number 28, and there's more than 300 universities in the UK. So you might see 28 and think it's not, you know, a special number, but of over 300, it's quite good. To be honest, Liverpool wants to be higher than that in the rankings as well. So we've just risen 6 places in 1 year, and that gives you an idea of what we're doing. We're trying to increase, you know, improve the rankings and do as much as we can really to help everyone. So maybe next year we'll go up even further, fingers crossed. Now, the management school is one of the major departments in Liverpool, and we have this additional accreditation called AACSB. And AACSB is a professional business organisation, and they only accredit the top 5% of business schools in the entire world. So if you go to a business school that gives you AACSB accreditation, then employers, no matter where you apply for a job, they respect AACSB and know that you've been to an extremely prestigious business school. So that can give you an edge competitively. MBAs are always ranked very highly, usually within the top 100. And you can see some of the other business programs that are ranked very highly as well. So what I'll do now is I'll quite quickly move through some of the most popular programs in each of the main departments and faculties. And I won't talk about every single one, but I'll give you some of the key points about some of the major programs that we've got. So in the management school, with our accounting and finance programs, and also MSc finance and programs to do with accounting essentially and finance, we have additional accreditation from the major financial bodies and the major accounting bodies, so like SIPFA, CIMA, ICAEW. We actually build our programs in collaboration with the accountancy bodies. So what that means for you is, if you wanted to study a finance or accountancy program, once you've finished your degree, normally to practice as an actual accountant, you would then need to do professional examinations after you've graduated. Now, in the UK, there's normally about 13 or 14, pardon me, examinations that you would need to do. Now, with Liverpool's programs, we give you exemptions for most of those examinations. So we give you 9 exemptions, which is the maximum number possible. So that means it's 9 exams you don't have to pay for and study for and do when you graduate. They're already included basically in our syllabus. So that's something that kind of is unique at Liverpool. The MBA program that we do, the Liverpool MBA, is usually very, very popular. Now, the thing with an MBA is that at Liverpool, you need to have 3 years of work experience, professional level work experience, as well as a good promedio to be able to apply for the MBA. If you've got that, fantastic, you can apply. But if you don't have the experience, we also have a program called Masters in Management, and it's basically a pathway for people who don't have enough experience. Both programs teach you how a business functions, and both programs teach you essentially how to run and how to lead an organization. But the MSc, the Masters in Management rather, that teaches you specifically the theory of managing a business. So you don't need as much experience to be able to understand that. With an MBA, it relies on your experience because it's more to do with developing like a leader or a CEO, not necessarily a manager, more of like an entrepreneurial leader. So you generally need experience to bring to the table to be able to understand some of the concepts that are being discussed. Okay, the School of Engineering is another really, really strong offering of the university. You can see some of the major programs on the screen. One of the interesting ones, we do aerospace engineering. Now, because we have professional industrial grade flight simulators, you can also do pilot studies alongside aerospace engineering. So if you're interested in not just building and designing aircraft, but you potentially like to become a pilot or learn how to fly, we give you enough pilot studies, enough flight hours to enable you to then do a private pilot's license exam. So that's another option that we do, which is quite unique. And we basically offer every type of engineering apart from chemical. We don't do chemical engineering, but we offer so many. It's one of the main strengths of the university. Again, I touched on some of these programs earlier on in computer science and electrical engineering. So you can see on the screen some of the main programs, but computer science is one that we've been very, very highly ranked in. So in the last Research Excellence Framework, which is a process that happens in the UK every few years, Liverpool was ranked #1 in the UK for computer science in terms of research output. So for anybody interested in computer science, that basically means that your academics and your professors have got the highest possible ranking for research output. So then for you, that means your teaching is informed by the absolute cutting edge research in that particular field. So it's not like an old syllabus, it's based on the latest knowledge. So you're not just being taught old information, you're actually involved in the cutting edge, which should be enjoyable if you like computer science. A few more other science and engineering programs. We won't dwell on these too much because we've already mentioned some of the strengths. Humanities and social sciences. Liverpool was the first university in the UK to have a School of Architecture, and it was actually a joint school. It was architecture and law, so the buildings were actually linked when it first opened. Now, in order to practice as an architect in the UK, you must have this accreditation called RIBA, and RIBA is the Royal Institute of British Architects. It's basically 2 exams that you would need to take to become an architect. Now, with our BA in architecture, part 1 of RIBA is included, so you don't have to do that separately. And the University of Liverpool was the first institution globally to be awarded RIBA Part 1. So that's just a little fact to kind of suggest how good the School of Architecture is in Liverpool, and how highly ranked and how well respected it is. You can see some of the other programs again. Humanities, we have a lot of different programs, and at the bachelor's level you can choose to combine two subjects, and you can do 50-50. You might do English and law or whatever you're interested in, but you can also do a major minor. So if you're more interested in, let's say, like modern languages, but you'd like to do modern languages with law, for example, then you can do like 75, well, you can do like 75-25, or you can do different combinations. So there's many opportunities to kind of like almost design your own program within humanities and social sciences. Now, in health and life sciences, this is something Liverpool is particularly well known for. And mainly we're well known for our medicine program, dentistry and vet science. Now, unfortunately for international students, those 3 programs, the 3 major clinical subjects, we have a cap on the number of international students who we can accept on those 3 programs. In medicine, we can accept 21 international students every year onto medicine. And the reason for that is not because we want a cap or anything like that. It's because we train doctors for the National Health Service in England. So the government give us a cap to work with. The only reason I mention that to you is because medicine, dentistry and vet science, they all have a cap, and they're extremely competitive in Liverpool, more so than many other universities. So if you're interested in medicine, for sure, go for it, and definitely make an application. But you kind of have to be extremely highly achieving and have the right experience, and make sure you do lots of research to have every possible chance to be successful. And if you are considering medicine, but now that there's a cap, you might consider some other programs as well. We do other programs that are kind of linked to medicine, like pharmacology, nursing, physiotherapy. We have other medical related fields that you might be interested in. So just check those out on the website. I've already mentioned London, so we won't do that screen again. I'll give you a brief overview of the admissions criteria and the process for applications. Of course, Innova can help you with all of this, and you can get much more detailed information from Jack and the team, but I'll just give you a basic overview today while I'm here. So if you are a Mexican high school student and you're coming to the end of the bachillerato, then you would need to do a 1-year foundation program before you can progress to like a bachelor's degree. And the reason for this is because there's a difference between the system in the UK and most other countries, really. Most countries' high school system is 1 year less than the UK. So in order to give you the right basis to be successful and to feel able to do the work, we just give you 1 year of foundation. And the foundation program is specifically linked to the program you would like to study in the university. So if you want to do law, you do a humanities, social sciences and law kind of foundation. If you wanted to do chemistry, it would be a science-based foundation. So it's very, very good, and it prepares you so well that when you begin at the university as a bachelor student, your learning curve is very easy. You don't have this long learning curve to learn how it all works. You're already prepared, and you can be successful very quickly. The foundation program is based in the university as well. So you actually are a Liverpool University student when you do foundation. So another benefit is that it gives you the chance to see what it's like for a year before you commit as well. So you see, do you like the culture? Do you like the place? Do you like the vibe in Liverpool? And you will like it, but it gives you an opportunity to try before you fully commit. For bachelor's programs, I'll tell you the different scores you would need from Mexico in a moment. But if you've done international qualifications like A-levels, we usually ask anywhere between 3 A's and 3 B's. That's the kind of level that we're at. Like if you were doing IB, it's around 36 to about 30. That's the rough level that we ask for. And if you would like to apply for a postgraduate taught program, so a master's program, you need to have the equivalent of a 2-1 in the UK. Now, with English language requirements, we ask for IELTS anywhere between 6 and 7. It's okay if you have a different qualification like TOEFL, IBT, or a different type of English qualification, but this is so you generally know the level that we ask for. And I must say, of all of the countries that I visit for this job, I would say Mexico. Mexican students tend to have excellent English, and English is never really a problem. Most people speak better English than me in Mexico. So I always feel like the odd one out really when I'm here. You guys have got much better English than most people. If you want to look in much more detail for the entry criteria for your country, because I don't know, there may be people who view this presentation from Colombia, Ecuador, Bolivia, anywhere. You can go to the link on the screen and you'll see a page with different flags, and you can go into the particular country flag and read much more specific information. And I'll just leave this on for one moment in case anyone's screenshotting or taking a photograph, or even maybe writing it down. Okay, we'll move on. So Mexican entry requirements. So I mentioned bachillerato students must do 1 year foundation. And if you want to do a postgraduate taught program, we usually ask for a promedio of around 8 or 8.5. That's usually our minimum. Sometimes if you make an application very late in the year, for example, if you apply through international clearing, which will open in late June or July, occasionally there's a possibility where we might accept slightly lower promedio, but that's not a guarantee. But that's just a small piece of advice. So if you're still thinking about where to apply to, some universities will never dip below the minimum requirements. Usually Liverpool does not drop, but this year we may be able to go slightly lower. So fingers crossed for that. So that's an overview of the city and a basic sense of the type of university we are, the types of programs we offer. In terms of the outcomes for you, because this is obviously the main important thing, you want to go to a university not just because it's in a great city and not just because it's well respected. I presume you would want a good outcome in terms of it will help you to get a job and it will help you to achieve your own goals. So one of the key statistics about outcomes for students is that 97% of Liverpool graduates are in a graduate level job or further study within 6 months of graduation. Now, one thing to mention about this 6 months, the reason why that's good, well, the reason why it's relevant to you is because with most universities, when you apply for a student visa, you only have a very short time to stay in the country once you've graduated. And most of the time on your Tier 4 visa, you only get 2 weeks to stay in the UK. and I don't know what good 2 weeks is to, to anybody really. At Liverpool, we're part of a small group who give you 6 months extra time. Obviously, we'd like that to be a year or 2 years, but we've pushed and we've got 6 months, which is much better than 2 weeks. So as time goes by, we might be able to extend that. But that gives you a bit of time to, if you'd like to stay in the UK to find work or to find, the next step in life, whether it's study or a job, then we give you at least 6 months. And we don't just give you the time. We have a careers and employability team who work with students from day one, if you'd like to take the opportunity to make you as employable as possible from day one of your studies. So it's basic things like, CV writing and interview preparation, all the very basic stuff. But we do things like professional business competitions where you present on like a national stage and, you compete against different people. We can do networking opportunities with big businesses that we have links with. So much stuff that I can't say it all, but that helps us to get this type of outcome, this 97% of students doing really well. And in terms of the global sort of alumni network, we've got about 220,000 global alumni. So no matter where you're from and no matter where you plan to live in the future and work, there's usually an active Liverpool University community in the city. So that can help you again with networking, business opportunities. And if you go on to be, super successful and you have your own business here in Mexico or anywhere else, then you might join the alumni network and give opportunities to other students. So we try to organise that and help people where we can. In terms of the tuition fees, these are the average fees. You can find out all of the specific fees for your programme online. This gives you the general range for each of the main faculties. And this is broken down into undergraduate and postgraduate, as you can see. One key point to mention about postgraduate programmes is that Liverpool postgraduate programmes are 1 year. So it means it's only 1 year investment and time for you. Some countries, they do 2 years and it's a bigger investment. So that's something to bear in mind. We also have some scholarships available and ways of kind of bringing the fees down as well. A new thing we have this year for postgraduate taught students, which is very, very important that you're aware of this. If you apply and we make you an offer for a postgraduate programme, we ask you for a £1,000 fee deposit. We've never done this before, so it's the first time that we're doing it this year. And I know sometimes that's difficult. So if you are, for example, applying to FUNED, FIDER, CONACYT or some other funding body, you don't always have the money at the time of the application. So we understand that. But in that case, you need to track down a letter of almost a financial guarantee letter or a letter from the funding body to say, we have agreed to fund this student, please accept this as proof that we will pay. If you do that, then there's no problem. But some students in the past, we would give them an offer, then we would process the things we need to process in order to help you get a visa, and then those students would not follow through on the application. So that's very expensive for the university to do all that. So that's why now we only do it for people who actually pay the £1,000 deposit.
It says here no deadline, Michael. That's an important one because CONACYT this year will publish the 2nd of August, which is relatively late, but that's still no problem for you if after that they would, because that's when students know who applied if they are actually going to get the funding.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because this is like an admissions process, and it's a very new admissions process. They've said no deadline, but realistically they will want some kind of letter earlier on. So even if the funding body like CONACYT, if they can say, well, if they can at least confirm that you've made an application, that might help in the first instance. But once we've done this process for 1 year, we'll be able to give more information and be able to say ways we can help to get around this. But yeah, they have actually said no deadline. So
I am going to be honest that I think for students to get a letter from CONACYT stating that they applied is going to be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I understand as well. But that's the information we've got as of today. But also, if you're in this situation and you do make an application and you're worried that you're not going to be able to make the deposit, get in touch with me personally through Jack and through the team, and I can share my details. I won't let you be in a bad position. You know, we will help you. But because this is such a new scheme, I don't have all of the specific answers today. But
it's a very important one because it says before issuing the cash. So yeah. No £1,000, no cash.
That's correct. Or no financial guarantee letter. So, but I suppose as this process develops, you know, it will have more flexibility inbuilt. This is really the pilot study for 1 year. But anyway, get in touch with me. We will help. We won't leave you in the dark. Don't worry. Okay, scholarships very quickly. We'll go through this. Unfortunately, for most programs, we don't offer like full scholarships, but we do some small like partial discounts on tuition fees. So for bachelor's programs, this is for people who've done international qualifications at, first of all, I'll say like A-levels or IB. So if you've got the equivalent of 1 A star and 2 A's at A-level, you'll receive a £2,500 reduction in your tuition fee for year 1. And if you get the equivalent of 2 A's and 1 B, you get a £2,000 reduction in year 1. Then when you join the university, if you do very well and you get a 70% average in your studies every year, we give you another £1,000 discount every year to help with the fees. Now, the exception to this is in the management school. Because the management school is one of the largest departments and they work with many, many international students, they have some full scholarships and some like 50% scholarships as well. And it's based on your attainment. So if you've done very, very well, if you've done really well, the management school may select you for a full scholarship or a partial scholarship. There's no actual number of scholarships or official statistics. It's just something the management school do. So if you've achieved very well and you apply to the business, a business program or a management program, you could get a much bigger scholarship. So that's this one. Now, if you take the foundation program and then you pass the program and progress to the university, if you successfully complete the foundation and you get 75% or above, you also get a £2,500 reduction in year 1 of the program. And if you pass the program with between 70 and 74%, then you get £1,000 in year 1. And again, if you do well in the program and get 70% average, you get an additional £1,000 every year. So that's one way of making a bit of a saving. For postgraduate programs, it's very similar. If you get the equivalent of a UK first class, which would be a promedio of 8 or above normally, then you would get a £2,500 reduction on the tuition fee. Now, another way you can save money is if you pay your own fees and you pay the fee in 1 instalment. Usually you get the opportunity to pay in a number of installments, and that's fine. But if you can pay in 1, we give you a 5% discount on the tuition. So we can slightly bring the fee down again. And we also have agreements with FUNED, FIDE and CONACYT. The agreement is basically a discount. So with CONACYT, we offer a 30% discount. So that effectively means, you would be paying 30% less for your tuition. With FUNED and FIDE, it's a 20% discount. So again, it means you borrow 20% less than you would have done. So these are the number of different ways that you can begin to make a better saving. Okay, so we're nearly finished now, really. We're coming to the end. So I'll talk about accommodation and some of just the basic services that we do. And then we'll put it out there for questions and let you ask whatever you like. So I showed you on a previous slide where we're based. And within that green circle in the city, we have lots of brand new accommodation. So it's very modern, very fresh, it's a nice environment to live in. It's not like some universities have very old accommodation, it's like really, really old, and it shouldn't even be there. But Liverpool have built extremely nice, modern places for people to live. Again, it's right in the middle of the campus, so you don't need really, money for transport. You can just walk everywhere. It's a very nice kind of lifestyle. The fees for accommodation are anywhere between £5,000 for 1 year and £8,000 for 1 year. And that just depends on which particular options you prefer. So you can go self-catering, half board, fully catered. You can choose different types of accommodation. But the cost of living in Liverpool as a city is very, very, very good compared to most other places in the UK. So with accommodation and with everything else, usually it costs about £10,000 for 1 year in Liverpool. Now, many other cities in the UK, it would be like £13,000 to £15,000. Of course, London would be even higher. Now, even though I'm from Liverpool, obviously I'm going to say it's good, but I do travel around the world a lot with my job, so I see many amazing places, and I know the world is much bigger than Liverpool, but that is a very, very good deal, really, for a student. Liverpool is for sure one of the best cities in the UK. I mean, I would, London's an amazing place. Okay, that's like a major world city, but it can be also kind of lonely in a huge city like that. I mean, you're used to Mexico City, so maybe it wouldn't be lonely for you. But London is so big and so fast that sometimes it's difficult to adjust to that. Again, you specifically might find that okay, but many other people from smaller places, it can be difficult. But Liverpool has got so much happening. It's small enough to walk around and to feel part of the community, but it's big enough to feel like you're in a major city, and the cost of living is lower than most of the places. So plus the people are very friendly. I must admit, Liverpool people are usually known for like being funny and being hospitable and being friendly. So yeah, even if you don't come to study with Liverpool, come to visit Liverpool and see how it feels, see if you like it. And then maybe if you don't do a bachelor's degree with us, you might come back and do a master's. So you've got the opportunity. In terms of facilities, we've got 2 24-hour libraries, and we also have an on-campus security team. So if you've been working in the library late at night, and maybe you want someone to walk you and your friends back to your accommodation, that's something that we offer. Sometimes students work in there all night if they've got deadlines or they've been enjoying the city too much and they've run out of time. So we have all the security systems in place to make that comfortable. We have so many things like English language support. 2 things that are really important for international students. 1, international advice and guidance. So that's a dedicated team that's there 5 days a week, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m, full days, really for any issue that you might have as an international student. It could be an accommodation issue, it could be a health issue, it could be something to do with a visa, anything at all that you have any kind of concerns or issues about. It could even be about your program. You might feel something could be more inclusive, or whatever it is, the international advice and guidance team are there to be responsive to your needs and whatever you need. We also have a GP and counselling service on the campus.
What is a GP?
So a GP is it's a doctor, basically, a general practitioner in the UK. Yeah, so you never really have to go very far for health support, we've got that on campus. And if, you know, sometimes people move to a new country and sometimes they enjoy it and it's amazing from day one. Other times, of course, people can get homesick, which is understandable. And maybe they need some support, need to talk to somebody, and, you know, we have counselling services. Of course, the counselling team deal with any issue. It's not only, you know, for an international student or somebody who's homesick, but these are the sorts of services that we build in to, like, your student's experience. We've got a huge sports centre, which is very good, and that's very, very popular. You can do nearly any sport that you're interested in. And the Guild of Students is the union, it's the student union within the campus. And this is a building that is basically managed by students for students. So apart from like restaurants and cafes and bars and all of this stuff, they have the clubs and societies. So these are, you'll probably know this anyway from Mexico, but in case this is different, clubs and societies are like interest groups that students build for themselves. So it could be a sport, it could be something like theatre or cuisine or a cultural club. So for example, we have the Mexican Society, we have the Latin American Society, we have like a skydiving society, we have all these different groups. And if we don't do a society that you would like to be in, as long as you get 10 people with the same interest, then we will give you finance to create that society. So, yeah, and sometimes, you know, there's like very political societies, so it doesn't have to be an activity. It can be, you know, something that a cause that's close to your heart. So yeah, and we did have at one point recently the biggest Guild of Students in Europe. So it's very, very big, very active. Okay. I mentioned earlier on that we work with employers, and we can gain students a year in industry if they do certain programs. But also, some of these major companies that you see here, not only are these major businesses where some of our graduates have gone to recently, but some of these companies come in and teach on our programs as well. So if you were studying one of the management programs, somebody from KPMG or Grant Thornton could come in would actually be in teaching you. Now, that's good because you're getting teaching from current industry professionals and not only academics, but also you get the chance to network, potential to do work with a big company to then set yourself up for potential jobs in the future. There's many, many more, but these are some of the major ones we work with at the moment. This is just to say that we do offer an airport meet and greet service. A major international airport in the northwest is Manchester, and that's about 40 minutes away from Liverpool by car. So Liverpool does have an airport, but it doesn't do international flights to like Mexico or Brazil, or it's mainly kind of European flights to Liverpool airport. But if you want us to, you can sign up for the airport meet and greet service. So the first people you see will be us. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know, after the 12-hour flight. But we will be there to take you to the accommodation, make sure you're happy and comfortable. And yeah, that's just something that we offer. Now, if you'd like to see the campus and get a much better sense of what the facilities look like and how it is in Liverpool, you can do a virtual open day. And that information's on the screen. So feel free to screenshot or take a picture. And you can also watch an insider's guide from students' perspective on actually how it is. And if you go to our YouTube channel, I think we've got that on the next page, yeah. The YouTube channel has got many, many videos from international students about their experiences. Now, if you want to follow us on social media, like, please do. The main active account at the moment, that's the most current account, is our Instagram page, and that is at LiveUniGlobal. Now, for example, last week, I did like a student takeover of our Instagram page with 2 Brazilian students, Felipe and Camilla. and they're studying our football industries MBA. So we did a kind of day in the life of Felipe and Camilla. We actually give the account to current international students to do takeovers. So you can see from the student perspective, we're not even involved. It's students showing you how it is on their program, what they like about the city or the university, anything they don't like or things they struggle with. So that's, you know, something really good to give you some more info. Okay, so from me, that's about it. Muchas gracias. It's been a pleasure to kind of speak to you virtually. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
What are the extra requirements for a postgraduate in public health?
Okay, because that's very specific, we'll go online. I'm going to find you the answer for that. I think that there are some requirements. Let's take a look. Yeah, okay, so there's definitely an additional entry requirement. So, yeah, so the first thing is it's available to anybody, any university graduate in a health or health-related area or profession. Graduates of medicine at an approved university must have 1 year of professional experience after graduation. So that's the first thing. The rest of the requirements are pretty standard. But the main thing is 1 year of post-registration professional experience. Yeah, and because you're in the room with me, you can see all of these additional things here. Excuse me. Okay, is there any other questions in the room?
You can apply for a work between your time in the university.
Yeah, you can. So with a student visa, you can work for 20 hours every week, but no more, like 20 is the maximum. Now, if you were to do a undergraduate program, you can work 20 hours a week, but in your vacation period, you can work more. But when you're actually studying, they won't let you do any more than 20. When I was in university, I worked between like 25 and 30 hours every week, and it was no good. It's too much. You know, it's very, very difficult to balance all of these things. So we wouldn't want to jeopardize your, you know, opportunities on the program. So 20 hours maximum. Plus that leaves you time to enjoy life as well. You know, study, enjoy the city, enjoy life.
From Innova, our advice is even lower, to be very honest. We normally say 10 hours max, so to have some extra pocket money. But it doesn't work anyway to finance your studies, because you need to prove your finance before you leave. So to finance your studies in any way, that doesn't work. You really have to see it as pocket money, and then indeed keep the number of hours low, because your studies are definitely the first priority.
Now, an interesting thing to mention actually is that the university can help you to find employment. So because you're going to work relatively few hours, we can help to get you employment that's relevant to your degree, so that you're doubling up your efforts in the same area. Another thing we can do, so my team, the international recruitment team, we take on a number of international students every year, and we give you training to work with us. So you would, for example, when we have visitors from different countries, you can take them around the university. So if we have like a group of Mexican students, or you know, parents and their son or daughter, you can take them around and talk to them, because you're from the same background, and tell them what the university is like. You can also, when we have applicants and offer holders, we do a campaign where you call up students from your background and talk to them, see if you can help them, give them information. So like if I was studying in any country, you know, if I saw we had applicants from Liverpool, I would be the best person to say, well, you know, yeah, I'm from Liverpool, I've been living here for a while, this is what it's like, this is what the culture's like, the course is like this. So yeah, and not just two job roles, but we have many different opportunities that we can help with.
I have some people online who are a little bit worried about the Common deadline. So in general, what happens, of course, is that the deadline for the application is the 31st of May.
Yeah.
But for that, they need their unconditional offer. And this is, of course, where some people will get nervous because they applied sometimes a little bit later than we would have wanted.
Yeah.
Can you still help sometimes to push an application forward if it is for a common seat applicant?
Yes. What I will do is I always promise to try. That's the only thing I can promise. What happens is right now within the university, because a lot of people are applying, because it's getting closer to deadlines and closer to the summer, that sometimes puts pressure on the admissions team, and a small backlog can come up. So I can never 100% say you will get prioritized, but I always try to help. And if there's an impending deadline, I will do everything possible to get you your offer letter as soon as you can. So yeah, just come to me. If it doesn't happen in time, don't take this as an absolute promise, but I will do everything I can to help you.
I have another question. Somebody has looked at the English language requirements and saw that CAE is not accepted, or at least is not in the list at the moment from Liverpool. Okay. Is CAE accepted as a proof of English qualification?
We only accept the things that are on the website right now. So if they've been onto the website and saw that it's not currently listed, then it won't be accepted. But what you can do is still make an application. One of two things will happen. The university will look at your application and they may say, okay, this person has a good level in CAE, and they might make you an offer where we accept it, or they might make you an offer of IELTS, where you'll have to do the IELTS exam, or they might say, we don't currently accept your qualification, but if you do a short pre-sessional English program, that will satisfy our requirements. So if it's not on the website, the short answer is no, we don't accept it, but don't let that put you off an application, because there's other things we can do to try and help.
Very good. So indeed, I have people here who have submitted their application last week, a few days ago.
Okay.
Now received their IELTS, which is the last document that they needed.
Yeah.
And then they are still trying to get an unconditional offer before the 31st of May. So I can imagine that's going to be tight, but...
It is going to be tight, but maybe we can work together to try and help. So if we have a number of applicants that Inova could send me a list that I can then speak to the team back in Liverpool, and if we have a batch, it's sometimes easier than individual cases coming in, because we can keep a ring around, be very focused on a group of people. So if any applicants who are in this position now are listening, perhaps contact Inova and let them know that you're a person in this situation, you've applied, but you need your result, you need your offer letter before the 31st of May. And then Inova can let me know a group of students in the next week or so. And then when I go home, which unfortunately for me is on Monday, because I'd like to stay a lot longer, I can then get on with the job of trying to help.
How long does it usually take? That's another question that I have here from Alejandra. So how long does it usually take to, if you have a complete application, to get your unconditional offer?
It depends which point in the year they applied. If they apply now, we have a backlog of approximately 7 weeks. So if you've got a college seat application, we'll do everything we can to make sure it's not 7 weeks. We'll try and get it done as quickly as we can. But if you would apply in like January, it might take 2 weeks, it might take 1 week. Right now there's a backlog, so it's hard to give you a specific answer, but the official number is 7 weeks. However, in reality, we will prioritize certain applications.
Okay. So the idea is for us from Inova to send you a list that would be best.
If it's possible.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For the postgraduate course in health, it's necessary that we medical students make a validation that we have known have passed all things here in Mexico that medicine.
Well, you would need to provide your certificates, and you have to provide the original document in Spanish and a translated version in English as well. So when you make an application, you upload all of your documents and your transcript and all of that. And as long as it's in English and Spanish, it will be official from the university, then that will be enough. Yeah, that's fine. De nada.
Do you have any program in education or neuroeconomics?
We don't do those specific programs, but what we'll do is, when we've finished the webinar, I'll look with you for any really specific things and we'll help. Okay. Any more questions online, Jack?
The main thing is that there are some people online who have conditional offers. So that's what we get questions about, but I think we're going to solve that.
We're going to solve
you a list.
Yeah.
I think Deborah will be in charge of sending you a list, and then most urgent cases will be in it.
Yeah, and for the students online, if you can do this urgently, you know, like today, tomorrow, as soon as you possibly can, then that gives me the best chance of helping you as quickly as I can.
Good. And they are thanking you for your presentation.
De nada, it was my pleasure.
The deadline to apply for the foundation is final month?
Good question, and this might be relevant to other people as well. If you'd like to apply for the foundation program, you need to go to the Liverpool International College website. So just Google Liverpool International College, and that will take you to the page with all the deadlines for application, the different lengths of program, the different costs of the different programs. So that will be my advice. We'll take a quick look online now if there's an impending deadline. Let's see. So no, it doesn't give a deadline. You can just apply online any time. Obviously, you know, you should apply pretty soon, but there's no actual technical deadline. It's just an open application. But that's different for people who want to study a pre-sessional English program. There are deadlines for pre-sessional English because you can do anywhere between 40 weeks and 6 weeks. So depending on the length of program you need, then there's a deadline to apply. And that for anybody who needs pre-sessional English, you go to the English Language Centre webpage and University of Liverpool English Language Centre. So they're the two areas you go to. One for foundation, which is Liverpool International College, and for pre-sessional English, it is University of Liverpool English Language Centre. You get a full list of fees, dates, any deadlines, and all the information you need.
With everything, for people who was not clear for everything that is treated here, any other questions that you have, Innova Education will help you gladly with your whole application. What we do is that we actually work for the University of Liverpool, so we work for them to help you facilitate, and without any costs, we help you with any questions that you have and look at any details that you have. Also, an important thing to mention is that the last step in the process is the visa, very important step. And we have a 100% success rate in that as well, and that's also something that we help you with free of charge. Very specific process, and it has to be spot on. So it is good for you to know that last minute, normally that will also not be a problem. We help you with that as well.
Okay. Great. Well, thanks again. Thank you very, very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Michael. Then for individual questions, we keep the people here can still come to you, but I will close the webinar. Thank you very much. And any other questions, please send us an email. I have in the chat also given Deborah's email for anybody who wants to be on that list for urgent offers. Thank you.